I got the power and they looking at me like the source. Take my throne, boy, stop that. I'm on my hill, can't top that. You take this L, yeah, rock that. You know, I never needed a cosign. Yeah, I'm gon' shine. I rock independent. Representing like I work for the Senate. You double LC, you ain't got no business.
Good morning, Yankees universe, KOD Nation, stand up, and all you Degens, wake up and get your coffee. Welcome to this Thursday, December 15th edition of the Yankees Morning Brew, and you know what it is. I'm chilling here with my guy, Jason, from 161 River Ave. Jason, good morning, baby.
Good morning, my man, and welcome, everybody, and good morning to the men of the Morning Brew. Hope you're all doing well. Shout out to the chat. Crystal Flash up in here. Chronicles in here. Tats.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to everybody. And happy holidays, everybody. Whatever you celebrate, happy and merry to all of you.
Yes. Happy early holidays, depending on what you celebrate out there. You know, just wish prosperity, peace, and happiness to your entire family. We got the New Year's coming up, but we still have the Carlos Rodon situation still out there. It's still a mystery. There was some reports that there was a contract that was coming up for agreements, but then that proved to be bogus. And then there was a report that came out yesterday that said that the Yankees and Rodon, they are far apart when it comes to contract negotiations. Jason, what do you make of all this madness that's going on out there when it comes to the situation?
Well, there are a couple of givens, right? Anytime somebody's represented by Scott Boras, these guys are going to reach for the stars. So, and he's the best at it. Extracting large contracts, whether in dollars or years, or both, for his players. And then the other end, we have Brian Cashman, who likes to lowball people. So, and with a market that's kind of shrinking for Carlos Rodon, and them already acknowledging that he wants to play here and that he's their guy, it sounds just going to take a little bit longer, in my opinion, but it's probably going to wind up happening. But to what degree, I don't know. And I've said this before, I don't think there's a chance in the world you're going to get him with 5 years and a 6-year option. It's got 6 years and a 7-year option. They want 7 years. The Yankees apparently offered 5. So they're going to have to compromise. And the fact is, the player tends to win that compromise. So we're going to have to reach close to their side, then they're going to have to do the other side. So to me, it's got to be 6 years with a 7th-year option at least. But I understand the GM's hesitation with a guy like this who's got a temperamental arm. So he's been healthy for the last 2 years, but I understand them not wanting to commit super long-term with guys that have had injury history. So, I think they're going to wind up making it happen. It's just going to take longer than we want it to.
No, definitely. Let me get it. Let me start the roll call real quick as we continue. Christopher Flash is in the building. I see you. Jigga Man Porto showed up and was bothering us this morning, but Jigga Man Porto is in the building. What it do? My man, Uncle Tats. Hope you're feeling well, Uncle Tats. Hope you're feeling well. G-Man is in the building. G-Man, what it do? Tyler Tabbitt, I see you, my guy. We got the 4-Train Express with Mikey Mazza. L.I. Yankee King is in the building. The dawn of the ring himself is here. And, of course, Brad Jewish is in the building. My man, Brad, what it do? Yeah, Jason, I agree with you. When it comes to Scott Boras, he has one unique ability when it comes to him. It's maximizing the value for his players in the moment, right? When it comes to getting the big contract, we all know Scott Boras to be that guy to be at the end of those conversations, right? And one thing about Scott Boras is, you guys got to understand this, that extra year that they're negotiating, that's an extra $3 million for Scott Boras, right? So say, for instance, if it winds up being $30 million a season, Scott Boras gets 10%. So Scott Boras does not want to leave an extra year on the table, and Scott Boras does not want to lose out on a potential $3 million that he would get back as an agent. You know, so it's all about maximizing your value at the right moment. Carlos Rodon, I know a lot of people, they pointed out he only pitched 30 times once a season. He only made this amount of starts. I understand that. I get that. But right now, when it comes to the market, this is the best starting pitcher that's on the market. And if the Yankees have to overspend for this type of pitcher, you have to do it. The window that you have when it comes to Judge, when it comes to Garrett Cole, when it comes to everybody else that's on your team, the window is 3 to 4 years.
Yep.
So if the window is 3 to 4 years and you sign Carlos Rodon for seven years, you're going to have him for 4 years.
This is true. This is very true. And in the window, taking advantage of those other guys' prime years. And the fact is, this is a dominant pitcher from the left-handed side. He's a gamer. He's exactly what the Yankees need, right? But it's really up to them. And with this market, look at the shortstops. They are making crazy money. Okay, all of them. Dansby Swanson's going to get crazy money too.
Oh yeah,
you should be thanking all those other guys for those crazy contracts. And it's just there's a lot of money to spend. And when Star Force is out there, this guy's a great white shark. He's looking to get as much of that chum as possible. So that's how you do it. And that's why people want him to represent them. He's the best in the game. That's why he's a master of waiting out the market, getting people to blink first, and getting a team to come in with a desperate overpay sometimes, an extra year, this and that. You know, he's the one that got the A-Rod's monster contract and Cano's monster contract. Like, it just is what he does. And he gets outbid against themselves. Like right here, this is a situation where I think he's going to get the Yankees to outbid themselves.
Yeah.
Because the Cardinals have kind of alluded to the fact that they're out of the market. The Dodgers brought in Noah Syndergaard last night, so they're out of it. So who do they have? Does he want to go to the Twins, who now have money to spend because they did not bring back Correa? They are not close to competing than the Yankees are. And he wants to come to a winner. He wants to come east, apparently. So the stars are aligning, but you're just going to have to pay for that stuff.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah. And, you know, you bring up, you know, these extra teams that may be on it when it comes to the Cardinals, when it comes to Minnesota, and when it comes to the Yankees. When you look at all three of those teams, if you add Carlos Rodon, which of those three teams have the best opportunity to win it all? And that's the Yankees. I don't mean just to say because I'm a Yankee fan, right? And I'm a diehard Yankee fan as well. Mark Teammaker's in the building. Marky Mark, what it do, baby? And of course, the Finch himself, the Finchmeister. What's up, guys? What it do, Dev? Hope all is well. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And Jonathan is in the building. Jonathan, what it do, baby? What it do, what it do? I gotta show love to the roll call. Gotta show love to the roll call. Yeah, bro. And like I said, when it comes to this team, when it comes to the Yankees, I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm definitely not trying to be cocky, brother. But when you look at this team and when you look at those other two teams we mentioned, the Yankees have the best opportunity to win when you add Carlos Rodon to it, right? That you know, that's just pretty clear when it comes to that. Sorry about that. That's pretty clear when it comes to that, right? When you look at the other teams, but at the same time, what's it going to take for House Steinbrenner to make this deal possible, right? What's it going to take? And I want to ask you, because there's been a lot of crazy contracts that's been given out this offseason. When you got Trey Turner, $11 million, Carlos Correa got 13 to 14 million from San Francisco. So I want to ask you, Jason, hypothetically, and people in the chat, let us know as well. What do you guys think about this? If the Yankees would have signed Carlos Correa to 13 to 14 million, 13 to 14 years for the amount of money that he got, are you excited? Are you like, is that a contract that you can say, oh, wow, you know, we know the long term, the last 4 or 5 years may not be the best, but let's just focus on right now. What would have been your take if the Yankees would have gave that many years up for Carlos Correa?
I would have thought like more than half that contract's probably going to be ugly. Now, he probably will age better than somebody like Judge, who's just a massive dude. But same time, I'm not a fan of giving out no 13-year contracts. So, but if they're going to give out a 13-year or 11 or whatever, I'd rather them give it to a 28-year-old than a 31-year-old. So you get a couple of more good years up front. But I'm not a fan of those contracts. I'd rather go 8 years and just give them a much higher dollar value. Would it be 8 years, 37.5 would have been 300. So honestly, I don't know what it would have taken to get Correa, but we see, I don't think the Yankees would have given 13 years, 350 for the guy. And that's a lot. But this is what, Bogart's 11 years. All three of the shorts that's signed are going to be playing in their 40s with this contract. So
Yeah.
is it dangerous? And I know we have more athletic people and better science and technology to keep these guys healthy, but we don't have many guys playing in their 40s at an elite level. So very rarely do we have that. So we can expect a diminishing returns at some point for several years, just like I expected with Judge's contract. But that's just the nature of the beast. I think I could see Dansby Swanson getting 10 years, $250, $300 million too. I can see happening. And just wait until like Soto and wait till Vlad Guerrero Jr. comes. Like, oh my God, Ohtani next year. It's gonna be crazy.
I want to ask you: is this like a tricky way that the teams are figuring a way out to give the money to the players, but extend the years, kind of like a deferred payment type of thing? Is this going to be something that when the next CBA comes up, when the next union negotiation comes up, this is something that gets nipped in the butt? Because to me, I think this is just tricking the system, right? You're just playing the system. There's no way that you can expect Carlos Correa to be a shortstop or to be a value player or a value asset on your team at 42, 43, or 44 years old. I'm sorry. There's no way that you saw the length of the contract and you said, you know what? He's going to be valuable at 42 years old.
You're absolutely right. And to your point, I would have, I mean, if this is the way that it's going, I would have done it the Max Scherzer way. When Max Scherzer signed his 7-year, $210 million a year deal with the Nationals, that was $30 million per. But they cut it in half and extended it outward. They went, we're going to give you 15 a year for 14 years. So even the next 7 years you're not here, we're going to still pay you 15 million a year. But we'll pay you happily, and it was obviously worth the contract. But we don't have to worry about you being on the roster, clogging up a roster spot. You can go get paid or something like that. So if I'm going to do it I'll do it that way. I'll give him the money and just spread out the money, and we'll give him deferred stuff like the Bobby Bonilla. What is he getting paid? 40? And he gets like
he's set for life. He's set for, and also too, on top of Bobby Bonilla, Chris Davis. If you remember Chris Davis from the Baltimore Orioles, his payments start this year for his deferred payment from his contract. So Chris Davis is going to get the bag over the next 15 or 17 years, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, all these bad contracts. And listen, hey, if the owners want to shill them out, a player's going to take it. And I think, and correct me if I'm mistaken, Jason, if you don't believe this or not, but I think the contracts they got out of whack in Major League Baseball. Sorry, as a car is driving by me. I think the contracts got out of whack in Major League Baseball when Jason Worth became a free agent, right? Because Jason Worth was a phenomenal player when he was with the Philadelphia Phillies. That money that the Washington Nationals put out there, I think it was 175 or 180 million dollars for Jason Worth. He wasn't worth that money. Jason Worth wasn't worth that money. He was a phenomenal player, like I said. He was an all-star, but he was just the best. That market, that free agent offseason was so barren. He was the best player in that market, and he took advantage of it and got the best contract. And to me, I think that's when contracts in Major League Baseball started getting out of whack. Yes, A-Rod had his money, but the Jason Worth contract, when the player in the middle starts making that extra money, then you got a problem.
We see you make a good point too, where the good player, not the superstar, starts to get paid like a superstar. And again, this is one of the things that the agents do in the union do. They want to continue raising salaries, right? Have soaring revenues and profits in baseball, and they want as much of that pie as possible. And how do you do it? You have to pay the player more. More. And so when you have like number 5 starters making $12 million a year, it's like a number 5 star. Yeah, it's crazy. But that's you're right around here. I think you might be right about Jason Worth too. Like right around that time, good players, just that second tier of players started getting played like the first tier, started getting paid. And it was all because the Nationals were desperate and they wanted to get some type of star on that team. They were just super desperate, and Jason Worth just happened to fit that bill. Yeah, and you will find a player if you're going to offer that crazy money, you'll find somebody to take it. You'll find somebody to take it, and then now after that they were drafting Bryce Harper and all this other stuff, but still you'll be paying for a lot of decline years. But he was good with them, but it's just you're right about that. I mean, when it started happening, it's really started blowing up payrolls and look what Steve Cohen's doing. He's paying crazy money for certain guys that are just like Eduardo Escobar for third base. Like it's just, and he's a good player, but was he made $75 million or something like some craziness, or almost $20 million? That's a lot of money.
Especially it's a lot of money, especially from us normies that go to McDonald's and buy off the dollar menu. It's a lot of money for us, for us to look at it, right? But people, we have to realize, right, when it comes to Major League Baseball, right, when you take the sport of Major League Baseball and you combined it with like the video game aspect, say like MLB The Show, baseball is a $16 billion industry. I'm gonna say that again. Major League Baseball, when you include the video game part of it and the betting part of it, the betting aspect part of it, Major League Baseball is a $16 billion industry. There's money out there to make. When you have the Kansas City Royals, the year before the pandemic happened, the year before, when you have the Kansas City Royals making $370 million off the stadium profits alone, you know Major League Baseball is making a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
You know Major League Baseball is making good money.
Yeah, I mean, just to put in perspective too, like the Yankees, every time they play a playoff game, they make an additional 20 to 25 million in profits. If they play 3 or 4 playoff games in a season, they're paying off all that threshold luxury tax that they have to pay.
All of it,
just like that, in a week.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, here you go, and they don't have to worry about it. So,
Mm-hmm.
and they're already swimming in money to begin with. And then again, the 4 major pillars of revenues, right? You got tickets, you got parking, you got merch, and concessions. I mean, they make, I can't even think about how much money they make per game.
And that's not even including the TV contract, and like that's not including Yes Network, and that's what us fans have to understand. And how Steinbrenner, this is not the 90s or the 80s where you could just trick us, right? We have the connection to the internet. We could figure these things out. Forbes magazine puts out your numbers every year, so these numbers is not something that you can hide anymore. I just want to shout out the chat real quick as we got a few more people who came in. Jay Boogie, the voice of the Knicks universe himself, is in the building. Jay Boogie, what it do? Of course, Blue Gold is in the building. Blue Gold, good morning. He said it's still not as bad as Josh Donaldson. Listen, nothing as bad as Josh Donaldson and a horrible contract. But I want to ask you before we continue, right? I know we was talking about this conversation. Alan Landsman is in the building. Alan, what it do, baby? Going into next season, right? If you had to choose, who would you rather have? And people in the chat, let me know as well. Who would you rather have on this roster, Aaron Hicks or Josh Donaldson? Who would you rather go into the season having?
Hicks.
Hicks?
As long as he's not a starting outfielder. If he's a 4th outfielder, I could tolerate that. Contract is half the price. He'll give a little bit of value, and he doesn't stir the pot the way that Donaldson does. And if you're going to stir the pot, I want some more production to go along with the stirring of the pot. So. Yeah. And even though he's got 3 years left on his contract, I mean, you add it up, it's pretty much the 1 year of Donaldson. So if I'm going to keep one of them, it's probably going to be Hicks. And don't have to start him either. So he can 4th outfielder. Whereas right now, Donaldson's a starting 3rd baseman, unfortunately. So that's my take. What's your take?
Me personally, I'm just done with Aaron Hicks. I recognize that Aaron Hicks and his contract is a lot easier to move than the 25 to whatever million is owed to Josh Donaldson. I understand Aaron Hicks' contract is more easier to move. Colorado could take a flyer on him, especially if we decide to, pay half of that contract each year going forward. Josh Donaldson, and this is what the Yankees have been saying about Josh Donaldson. When it comes to his glove, he is good defensively.
Yeah, he is.
Right? He is good defensively. But this is the one thing. When we traded for Josh Donaldson, the number one thing we traded him for was for his bat, not for his glove. We didn't trade for Josh Donaldson because we needed a gold glove or we needed that solid defense at 3rd base. No, because we already had that with Gio Urshela, right? What we traded Josh Donaldson for was his bat, and I do recognize that. But if it's on just for one season, I would rather have Josh Donaldson. Honestly, that's just my opinion. I would just rather have Donaldson than Hicks on this team.
Well, that's a fair point too. I'm honestly, my preference is to move on from both of them.
Both of them, yeah.
If you have to choose, you got to choose, right? So
yeah.
I see the argument for either one. But
now,
go ahead.
Not sure. My fault for cutting you off, Jason. I throw it right back to you. But there was some rumors last night that were circling on Twitter. And granted, take them for a grain of salt. Rumors is rumors. We just report on them just to break them down to see what will come of it. But the rumors about IKF, right? Apparently, Boston has shown interest when it comes to IKF trading for him. What's your thoughts on Boston being interested in trading for IKF?
To play what, shortstop?
To play shortstop because they don't have Bogarts.
I mean, a couple of reactions, and instantly we're like, okay, what? Feel free to take him, but then watch him go over there and turn into Xander Bogaerts and win the Yankees. And I'm gonna be like, what the fuck? So I'm gonna be, So that's my other reaction. So like, but if it's an easier path for us to move on from contract, and he's only here for 1 more year, so he'd only be over there in Boston for 1 year. So I don't think his impact over there will be enough to knock us out of the postseason or whatever.
Yeah.
We are. So if that's the case, I would be fine moving him to Boston. Whatever. I mean, let it happen. We got Oswald Peraza at shortstop, so I'm fine with that. To me,
whether it be for cash or a low level prospect, if the conversation happens, the conversation happens. I know a lot of Yankee fans wouldn't be that sad when it comes to losing IKF. I think they'll be more excited about booing him in Boston than they will be having him on the team. The idea of just being able to boo IKF worse than what you do right now, it's a lot more intriguing to me.
You got that right, it is, man. I think it would be fun regardless, man. It's gonna be. Can you imagine what to see him out with the boss? Oh my god! Just the thought of imagining that now. Him with Devers, guys bobbling the ball. He'll be bobbling at shortstop. Devers bobbling at third all day. So it would be fun to watch, but not fun if they're killing us.
You forgot one thing. You forgot Trevor Story. With his big contract that he got in his 230 average. You forgot about Trevor Story at second base.
Point. You're right about that. Second base. Yeah, he's a good glove, Trevor Story. But like Story, IKF, and Devers, and I don't even know who plays first base for Boston.
Oh, I think they're trading Bobby Doyle back, the first baseman that they had. So I think it's open right now. Boston is in the midst of like a little micro rebuild, which was surprising to me that they put out almost $100 million for that player from Japan. I understand he's going to be a phenomenal player, but when you're going through a rebuild, you're going through contract negotiation with Devers, and you're willing just to throw out $100 million for the sake of just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think he was going to go to Boston, honestly.
I didn't have Boston pinned for him at all. No way.
So, but again, like they lost Bogarts. I mean, I heard that they're quietly listening on phone calls for Devers. So I don't know how much teeth that has, but like if they move him, they're going to get a haul for him. They're $60 million apart right now in contract talks too. His camp asked for 300. They offered him 240. So, but my logic is you let Bogarts go, you have to lock up Devers now, man. You have to do it. Young, he'll be your guy. But because if they don't and they let him walk, there's gonna be no shortage of suitors going after that dude.
Yeah, he's gonna. If he hits free agency, the Mets will definitely be calling, right? Especially the Mets are gonna spend so much money next offseason. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous how much money they're gonna spend next offseason because you got Ohtani and Devers. Those are both positions that they need.
Yep, and Cano will be off the books.
Yeah, and Cano will be off the books. That's boom. Because when you look at the Mets payroll structure, right? If they go over 300 million and they get hit with that next tax, their payroll next year with the tax and everything is going to be $410 million. $410 million. Right now, for not going over 300 million, it's 360 or 370 around there. If they go over that 300 million, they will get hit with that extra tax, raising it to like 411, 412.
Yeah, and there'll be a multiple offender on the Cohen tax threshold level. So it's 90 cents on the dollar at level for everything over whatever that was, 290 or something like that, 295. Yeah. 90 cents on the dollar for everything else. So if they're at 290 and they go to, let's just say 340, that's an additional 50 million. They're gonna have to pay almost 100 million in penalties.
Anthony Medina's in the building. Anthony, good morning, my guy. Salute, Anthony. Yeah, and like with the Yankees also, right? When you look at, this is according to FanGraph with the Yankees, they're on the line for $244 million, but because they went over that threshold last year, they're sitting at 266.
Yep.
Finally, when it comes to that. And that's just what it is right now. We're not sure if they're going to go out and spend more and add more and, make that threshold a little bit steeper.
Yeah, I mean, that's not, let's just say they get Rodon for 30. That takes them up to 290, like that. And then a left fielder. And so, and who knows what they're going to do there? Are they going to trade? Are they going to try to bring back Benintendi? There's so much speculation there too, as to
Yeah.
what the scenario is, and that'll take them over 300. And they're going to have to try to offset something, right? I mean, they're trying to move Hicks and trying to move Donaldson, even Torres, and so they'll offset some kind of salary. So if they get to 300, maybe bring it back down to 285 or whatever it is. I think it's still going to be $10 to $20 million more than it was last year at the very least. It's all said and done. But
I think it's Rodon. I think it's Rodon or bust, because this is not the conversation I want to have, because they was talking about Plan B, right? And Nathan Eovaldi, Nathan, good old Nathan, he seems to be Plan B for the Yankees. What's your take on Plan B Nathan Eovaldi if they don't get Carlos Rodon?
Well, let's make it clear. Plan A is a mile ahead of Plan B. Okay, this is not, but Rodon and versus Verlander, or versus Grom, or versus Max Fried, who's the new flavor of the month right now from the Braves that everybody's talking about. There's a difference between these guys, and again, he's also attached to a QO. And if I'm going to give a draft pick or draft pick compensation up, it's going to be for a number 1 pitcher, not somebody who could possibly be our number 4. Okay.
Yes.
And then a big contract, because he's going to get this is a scenario where the number 4 guy gets like $18 million a year. So, and Eovaldi's going to be a prime scenario of that. He's going to give it to him. And I don't see the point. Like the first experiment didn't really work that well. And when he was here, he had too many injuries, and he's already out of his second Tommy John. It's too risky, in my opinion. Again, it's like you said, it's Rodon or bust. It's got to be. And they have to come back here with a stronger offer, like they did with Judge, and just try to put this thing to bed and get him in the fold here, man. So that we're not having this conversation about Nathan Eovaldi.
Yeah, Nathan Eovaldi, he's 32 years old. We traded for him when we traded. What was that? What was the guy that we traded for that we had at second base? Martin Prado. Yeah, Martin Prado. We traded Nathan Eovaldi for Prado, and I loved Prado when he was here. I thought he was a phenomenal Yankee, but we tried. Yeah, we took that risk on Nathan Eovaldi. He never turned out to be solid. He had 2 seasons here with an ERA over 4.5 in each season. You've seen some flashes of dominance when he was on, because there's one thing about Nathan Eovaldi. He has phenomenal stuff. Just like AJ Burnett. AJ Burnett had phenomenal stuff also, but Nathan can't put it together. Consistently, he can't put it together. And I'm definitely moving away from Nathan Eovaldi.
Yeah, I mean, he's no Carl Pavano in terms of disaster, but it just wasn't the right fit. And I think it's, like you said too, I mean, decent, but with a high ERA. He's got big strikeout arm, but it's not consistent. And at this point, we need more consistency. And the fact is too, who let us down in the postseason? Our bats. So we can't ignore the bats. We can't just get Rodon and we're done. We can't do that.
No. Do that. We gotta get somebody for left field, whether that be bringing back Andrew Benintendi, whether that be trading for Brian Reynolds. We have to have an upgrade in this lineup, especially in left field. Now, what is your take on get Rodon and Conforto on a 1-year deal? How would you feel about Michael Conforto?
I mean, if we were getting down to last resorts, I'd consider him, but I'm not going to pick him if we have a chance to get Benintendi back. I'm not going to pick him if we have a chance to trade for somebody more significant. I think he's going to, he'll probably sign with somebody in January unless somebody comes in with an overpay. I think we can wait him out, but again, he's coming off a major injury. So I would have preferred to have gotten Nimmo over him, but Nimmo's contract was through the roof. So, so he's a guy I would consider, but again, I want to make sure that we can't get these other guys first.
Yeah. And when it comes to Benintendi, there's 2 sides to look at it, right? It's not just spending the money for Benintendi, right? And bringing back Benintendi. It's spending the money on Benintendi and making sure that he stays away from Houston. You do not want Houston to upgrade their team by signing Andrew Benintendi. Because if they sign Andrew Benintendi to that offense that is already a top offense in the league, watch out, because they're going to be putting up video game numbers day in and day out. I do not want Andrew Benintendi to wind up in Houston. That's why I think the Yankees need to go hard when it comes to Andrew Benintendi, because when it comes to like Brian Reynolds, I don't think Houston has the prospects to trade for Brian Reynolds, but they do have the money to sign Benintendi. What's your take on that?
Absolutely. And again, using that same logic, if I'm the Yankees, they haven't replaced Verlander yet either. They could replace him with Carlos Rodon. They have the money
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't
Great
want that
point.
to happen either. I would rather get Rodon and Benintendi here in the fold than the Astros get one or both of them. You know, they did miss out on Wilson Contreras. So and Sean Murphy. They'll find an opportunity, and we'll wake up one morning and be like, oh my God, they did what? That's my fear. Right.
Yeah.
So, and the Astros are a dangerous team, and they want to win the World Series again. So they're going to put reinforcements out there. But if I'm if I'm the Yankees, I'm trying to bring these guys in sooner than later and just move on to, ancillary moves.
And then also too, when it comes to Andrew Benintendi, because this is a part of the conversation, is he a big city player? Is he a big market player? That's what we don't know about Andrew Benintendi. Granted, we don't know that about Brian Reynolds either. Go ahead, bro.
Boston's a big city. He thrived there.
Yeah, but him and the fans, like towards the end of his tenure there, him and the fans, they had a tumultuous relationship. They had a bad relationship, Andrew Benintendi and the fans, and that was one of the main reasons why the Boston Red Sox traded him to Kansas City.
Kansas City. I mean, that could be an issue, and if it is, I mean, we haven't heard that from him. We're hearing it from other people, but if that's
all speculations,
if that's the case, then he can go welcome to sign elsewhere, and the Yankees can move on to somebody else who would be more than happy to take their money. So, and again, if that's the case, then that's the case. I mean, we just deal with it as it is. But he played well here until he got hurt, obviously, and getting thanks, and of course you're going to have opinionated people in New York, just like you do in Boston. So you'll get the boos and everything else, and blah blah blah. In terms of the territory, you don't really get that in St. Louis or Boulder, Colorado. Like here, I mean, these guys are, they'll dog you out, man. They'll dog you out in New York. So. But in terms of, I mean, there's not many.
They boo their own grandmother if they don't get the right gift on Christmas. What are you talking about?
Exactly, man. Well, I'm not happy with this. Battery is not good. But looking at the free agent market, there's no free agent right now that represents an upgrade over him. And you look at the trade market, the only trade that represents an upgrade over him to me is Brian Reynolds. So. Yeah.
And Reynolds is younger, and he is on the cheap for the next few years, but the asking price for Brian Reynolds, that's what it comes down to, right? It's all about the asking price, right? I'm not willing to give up Volpe. That's one prospect I'm not willing to give up, right?
I think you can get him without him.
Spencer Jones is another prospect I'm not willing to give up on. You're more willing to give up Jason Dominguez than I am willing to give up Jason Dominguez, because you don't like how he spells his name, Jason. Let's be honest, Jason.
Why do you have to add to the name? Why did you do it? Why'd you have to do it?
No, but if it comes down to getting Brian Reynolds and Jason Dominguez, it's what it takes to get him, then at this point you have to get him.
Yeah,
right. You have to.
There's no more than a handful of players in all of baseball who I would give up Dominguez for. He's one. I'm not going to just put him in trades for everybody. Like, we're talking about Corbin Burns, like those types of guys, Max Fried, guys that are going to be mainstays here for a while. And Brian Reynolds would do that same thing. So, he's not a trade for fun guy for me. He's got a super high ceiling, is very highly touted. And again, but Brian Reynolds to me is the finished product of what we want Dominguez to eventually be at some point. We can get that down. If we want to take advantage, like you said earlier, if we want to take advantage of the prime years of these guys, we got to bring in guys that are kind of entering their prime too, not projects. So that's why I think Brian Reynolds to me is still the leader for the outfielder field. But and again, he's a center fielder. It's easier to go from center to the corners than it is from center. And then we have Harrison Bader, the best defensive center fielder in baseball, backing him up. So. And then you got Judge on the other side. It doesn't really get much better than that, man. Much better than that. So
I got a report here, Alan. I appreciate you. He said the Cubs have agreed to a 1-year deal with free agent righty Broad Boxberger. Wow, I haven't heard that name in a while. ESPN Jeff Passan reports $2.8 million, low risk, high reward deal. Brad Boxberger, when he was back with the Tampa Bay Rays, he was phenomenal when he first came up. Lights, electric arm. Got dealt with injuries over a couple of seasons. So hopefully he bounces back with the Cubs. And I think the Cubs, they took a lot of flyers on players for 1 year, right? When it comes to Cody Bellinger, when it comes to Brad Boxberger, they've taken a lot of flyers on players for just one seasons to see what they got.
Yeah, and if honestly, if they weren't going to get Correa, I mean, there's still a chance they might get Dansby Swanson. But they weren't going to get like these star players and load up on role players. They brought in Jameson Taillon too. So again, they're kind of loading up around the place. I could see them still getting one of these catchers, and kind of because they're missing Wilson Contreras now. So like, I think they're going to do a bunch of more moves and just try to make them put themselves back to being at least towards a contender again. And then at some point, they have a lot of money to spend too. They're a big market, so at some point they'll bring in some guys, or they'll draft some guys and kind of create that new young nucleus like they did with Rizzo and Hayward. So,
well, you also now have the conversations about the Yankees possibly trading for one of the Arizona Diamondbacks outfielders. Now, I don't know much. I saw this morning actually while I was getting ready for the show, so I wasn't able to do a deep dive into those three outfielders. But Jason, not sure if you had talked about it on your show, but if you have, do you have any knowledge on these three outfielders from Arizona that they're talking about?
I think the one Corbin Carroll is they've already made clear is not available, but like Dalton Varsho, and then you have what's the other guy's name? Yeah, it'll come to me. They're outfield. But, they're works in progress too. I mean, Varsho made some adjustments mechanically to his swing that it kind of put him ahead. But again, these guys are young projects with lots of years of control. It's hard to pass up on lots of years of control on cheap if you can get it. So, and would I be offended if they got one of these guys? Jake McCarthy is the other guy. Jake
McCarthy, okay.
Solid sample, but again, a sample size. There's no consistent pattern of major league production just yet because they're young. They came up, and him and Varsho. So, but they have the talent and stuff like that. And if the Yankees can swing a deal and they could, get a reliever in the deal with it too, then it would be, a pretty worthwhile trade in my opinion. But again, I think they'd have to exercise patience with the development of the outfielder too. So, and there's another kid too. Is it Alex Thomas or Tomas?
Alex Tomas.
Tomas, right? He's another one, a young developing player. So they have these guys, but would I choose any of them over Brian Reynolds? Nope.
The one thing that I like about them is that each one of these players, there was 4 different outfielders that we named. Each one of them, they bat from the left-hand side. So that's the one thing I'm excited about, because we need that left-handed impact back in the lineup. When you look at the 2009 team, and even when you look at the Dynasty team, we had the perfect balance of right-handed hitters, left-handed hitters, switch hitters. A manager back in the days couldn't take out, all right, I'm gonna bring out my best lefty to have him go through 4 or 5 guys in a row in a lineup. That never happened.
It's true.
That because of the balance, because of the lefty, righty, switch hitters in the lineup. It just never happened.
It's true. It's very, very true. I mean, and the Yankees, those dynasties had the perfect combination of contact, and they didn't really have guys hitting 40, 50 home runs. If you got 30, like Tino, you're lucky. And everybody else batting close to 300, getting clutch hits, playing good defense. And these guys did all the little things collectively together, and they made each other better. So, the fit was good too with Brocious. It was a perfect fit. Tino, perfect fit. Perfect fit. All these guys that they surrounded each other with. And that's one of the things where that was masterful, not only trading and free agency moves and stuff like that. And they put it together the right way. And they had they had 4-4, which is a rarity now. To have 4 guys at that level that good for that long, so that's a benefit too. So it was a combination of drafting, free agency, and trades, and they just came up with the right dynamic and these guys hated to lose, and it was known, and that they had a fire that you don't really see, and it was not a flashy team. Darryl Strawberry, David Just, all these guys, man, they played such a good role here. Cecil Fielder, Chili Davis. Leaders, mentors, and great veterans, and such a good collection of guys, man. And that was a memorable team. Quite a few.
That definitely was. And hold on one second, Tyler Tabbitt. Our farm is better than you think. Listen, I love our farm system going forward. Right now, I can honestly say, since I've been watching the Yankees, maybe Jason, you could chime in on this, but this has probably been the best Yankee farm system over the past couple of seasons that we've had over the past 20 years.
I would say I have not seen it that deep, And I don't think I've ever seen a farm this deep on the Yankees side. I mean, the Yankees, even when they were picking at the bottom and they got the number 1 pick with Brian Taylor, like things just didn't work out with the Yankees. They weren't developing players like they're doing now. And they have much better player development and scouting and all this stuff now. So, and that's all Cashman, actually. That's not nobody else. He put together that team. So, give credit where it's due. But this is the deepest farm I've ever seen with the Yankees.
Yeah, and we have to hope that, if the Yankees, when you look at their top 10 prospects, we're just asking to hit on 50% of it. That's it. We're not asking to hit on all 10. Just let us hit on 50% of that, and I'm good. You had a good friend of mine, Nathan Ramachandra, on your channel from the NNR Hour. Nathan exclusively covers the Somerset Patriots, right? And he knows these prospects better than I know these prospects, better than you know these, better than anyone knows these prospects. And Jason and Nathan is super excited about this next crop of young guys coming up. He even feels that Randy Vasquez could be a sneaky number 2 or number 3 in a starting rotation. And when you look at Randy Vasquez stuff, he has strikeout stuff. He strikes out batters left and right. So if he could put it together, this Yankee farm system is scary.
Yep. And I do think they have a good combination. I mean, they're way deep in position players, obviously, infield, shortstop. So, and very rarely did the Yankees call up a lot of guys. So it makes sense to use some of these guys as trade pieces to get pieces that you need, and just continue to develop internationally or through the college draft or whatever it's going to be. And the Yankees are good, so they have the benefit of being good every year. So they pick in the bottom of the draft almost every year, but they do a pretty good job at that too. I mean, that's when they found Judge, the back of the first round. That's where they find a lot of these guys. So it's a good player development, a good drafting over they have over there. But again, this farm, they put it together the right way, and they have like the right coaches with the right methods in there, and you got guys. I've never seen. I'm more excited sometimes about the AAA and the AA than I am in the major league performance, because they're what I love the Yankees. It's more patient, more disciplined, more contact hitting, more deceptive, and just chaotic base running and everything. Which I wish the Yankees would adopt some of that stuff.
Yeah, I had his numbers here. I just lost them or whatever. But this is what I wanted to ask you, because this was another thing that was circling around the rumor bin yesterday. And hold on one second. Blue Gold, I hear you, bro. Chance Adams was supposed to be the next best thing for the Yankees. But when we had Chance Adams as our top prospect, we only had Chance Adams as our top prospect.
Yeah,
that's it. There was no one else. We got Volpe as the number 1 prospect in all of baseball, and we still have Oswald Peraza right behind them. Right, we still have Trey Sweeney right behind. So we're a little bit deeper than we were back then. But yeah, Chance Adams, that was right there a huge disappointment when it comes to prospect bust. But this rumors have been circling about the Yankees being in conversations with the San Francisco Giants pertaining to J.P. Crawford. What's your thoughts on that?
Brandon Crawford?
Brandon Crawford.
Like a swap for Donaldson. I mean, he's an older player. Year might be a little bit more production at Donaldson, but I don't see it as an upgrade they need. Personally, they need to go higher than that. Infield guy. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to try to go to the Brewers and get Willie Adames instead of Crawford. Because what are they going to bring Crawford here for? Shortstop or third?
I think it would just be like you said, a swap for Donaldson. They need a third baseman. We needed either a shortstop, third baseman, just a stopgap in order for Volpe to come up or whatever. But yeah, Blue Gold. Yeah, but the thing with Clint Frazier, we traded for Jackson Frazier, right? We traded for Jackson Frazier. We traded for Gleyber Torres, and we brought those prospects in and put them at the top of our prospect pool because we traded for them, right? But what I'm talking about, these group of prospects that we have, these are guys that we have developed from day one all the way from rookie ball to where they are right now.
There's only one of them in the top 10 that was a traded prospect. That's Clayton Beater. We got from the Dodgers from Joey Gallo. Everybody else they've drafted or signed internationally. And all those prospects are all Yankees draftees. Ray Sweeney, Roderick Arias, international, like all those dudes. All. So kudos to the Yankees for doing that.
And all we're asking is just to hit on 50% of it, 40% if you want to be conservative about it, but we just want to hit on 50 to 40% of it. That's all we're asking about.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice. I mean, for Peraza to turn out. We need our own Jeremy Peñas. We need our own Yordan Alvarez.
We need our own Fernando Tatis Jr. That's what we need.
Yes.
That's exactly what we need. And
Yeah.
let this, and we've said this before, we've had this conversation, Jason. Let this Aaron Judge contract negotiation, this fiasco, be a learning curve and a learning lesson for the Yankees, right? If Anthony Volpe hits the ground running from day one, his rookie season, if he hits the ground running as a superstar, make sure you give that man that bag and you extend him for the next 10 seasons.
Yeah,
Do not let what happened with Judge this offseason happen with any prospects going forward.
Yep. Yeah. Don't put yourself, like the Braves are doing. They're locking up all their young kids, man. And it's so smart. It's so smart that they're doing that. And rather than waiting the whole thing out and then having to pay $100 million more than you need to, just give the kid his bag when he's young, when he's playing productive. I mean, take advantage. If you're going to pay 150 to 200 million, pay for the prime years, not the decline years.
Yes.
Better investment. So it's not something that they do. They always wait out, but it will be a very good idea to consider adopting the model that the Braves are putting forth right now. I mean, they locked up almost everybody.
Yeah. We're soon, the Yankees are soon going to, and Alan, I appreciate you because I was just about to say that we're soon going to have to start having the conversations for Bader's contract, for Harrison Bader, right? Nestor Cortez, he's on arbitration. He's on arbitration for like next 4 seasons or whatever, making minimum money. But sooner or later, you may have to pony up some money for Nestor Cortez for just 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, and honestly, I would try to extend Bader now. I don't want to get the free agency because if he plays really well, it's going to cost a boatload more. Just get the guy here. If you want him here, keep him here.
Yeah.
Don't wait until other people show interest in wine and dine him. Don't do it. Be proactive about it. Be proactive about it. Especially you traded Montgomery, a popular pitcher, for him. So you're just going to let him walk if he's really good. Then it's going to make the trade look ugly again.
Exactly.
Why?
Exactly. It's just going to bite us in the foot. Harrison Bader has been one of the best mid-season acquisitions that Brian Cashman has ever traded for, especially in the postseason. Everybody was so worried about trading Jordan Montgomery for Harrison Bader that now everybody's like, Jordan who?
Yep. Yes, indeed. And
Monty who?
It's he carried the offense in postseason. He carried the whole offense.
I got Dev Finch in the chat. Anyone have snow yet? I'm looking out my window. I do not see any snow yet. I'm in Dykeman right now. Jamie says that it's snowing by him. Ty, let me know in the chat if it's snowing by you guys, because it's supposed to be a bad snowstorm in New York over the next couple of days. But over here in Dykeman, there's no snowing so far.
We had snow this morning. Now it's like sleet.
Okay.
We'll see what we get.
Yeah. But
crushed like but.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody stay warm also. Make sure you stay warm. Make sure you put the salt out there. If you have any dogs, right? And this is the big thing. If you have any dogs that you take outside to walk, make sure you wrap their feet up because the salt is really not good for their paws. And, you may wind up hurting them in the long run. But let's switch conversation towards the bullpen, right? With the crop of guys that we got right now with the bullpen. For you, right? Who's the closer going into the season? How are you setting up that bullpen, Jason? And guys in the chat, people in the chat that are watching, listening on, let us know as well. Who would you guys have? How would you set up that bullpen?
I think it's going to depend on how healthy Michael King comes back. When he was healthy, then I didn't worry about Clay Holmes being closer. If he's still not there and needs more time or whatever, I'm adding Johnny Loizaga to the closer situation, the closer conversation. So it'll be between Loizaga and Holmes until Michael King proves that he's healthy, in my opinion. Because those are my back three. Now, like I've said before, I still think it'll be a good idea for the Yankees to trade for another reliever or sign on the left-handed side. They still have Andrew Chafin, and even though they brought in Tommy Kahnle, who's going to be in the fold now, and Junior Fernandez off of waivers from Pirates, and this guy's got a big arm, so he might be part of the conversation too. We just don't know. But I would still bring in another guy from the left-handed side, like a Gregory Soto, who I've mentioned, who's got closer chops.
Yeah.
Bednar's going to cost more, but he's another guy, but he's not a lefty. But if you can get him, you got to get him. Or Gregory Soto, got to get him.
I would, hold on, because Blue Gold put this in the chat. Wandy the closer. Now, that's what I would entertain because, as Uncle Tat said, He's doubling down on Wanley as a closer, right? He handled the pressure with ease. For me, it's a competition between Jonathan Lasagna, like you said, if he could stay healthy, because that's been the issue when it comes to Johnny Lasagna, health. Either Jonathan Lasagna or Wanley Peralta competing for that closing spot. I want Clay Holmes to feel comfortable like he was as a setup man, move him back, take that pressure off him. I understand injuries was a big concern when it comes to Clay Holmes towards the second half of the season, but at the same time, just being thrown into that closer role, that doesn't help out either, right? That doesn't help you, especially when it comes to that pressure that's New York City.
And to your point too, who cleaned up Lasagna's mess or Clay Holmes' mess when he got into trouble? Wandy Peralta. He was the sanitation guy. He came in and cleaned up messes all the time. High leverage, bases loaded. He would get out of it. Like, so he's a guy, and it's a guy. I'm glad you brought him up. He's a guy who needs to be considered too.
Yeah.
All reliable. He's like the Nestor Cortez of the bullpen. He's got that jelly arm, and he makes big pitches, man.
Bro, I said it all postseason. Wanley Peralta, he comes to Dyckman Ave, he plays dominoes, he drinks some Brugal, and then he goes right to Yankee Stadium to pitch in tough situations in the postseason. That's what he was last postseason. He was hanging out here in Dyckman, playing dominoes, drinking some Brugal, and then going to Yankee Stadium to close games out. I love what we got out of Wandy.
I love him too, man. He's so much fun to watch. So much fun to watch. I'm just glad we got him too. I'm glad he's here. He's not with the Mets or with somebody else, with the Astros. I'm glad he's here. So I'm glad you brought him up. He's got to be considered too, no matter who.
Yeah. And like, knock on wood, Clay Holmes, the reports that, Clay Holmes, he's progressing faster than what the Yankees have expected him to progress when it comes to his recovery. Let's not push it, right? Let's not try to get him back faster. But it's good to hear that Michael King, he's progressing better than what the Yankees thought he would at this stage, December 15th. So I'm happy to hear that.
I've seen a couple of his bullpens, and he looks pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, hold on. L.I., I didn't see what you posted, L.I. Hold on. Let me see. So L.I. Yankee King, shout out to L.I. Yankee King for always being in the chat. He said his bullpen closing is Clay Holmes, set up Gregory Soto. It's your favorite Jason if we acquire him from the Tigers. Jonathan Lasagna, Tommy Kahnle, JP Sears. Oh, I don't think the A's will give us back JP Sears, Clark Smith, and Ron Marinaccio. And that's the thing. We got Ron Marinaccio coming back. We got Tommy Kahnle coming back. That's just going to strengthen out this bullpen. But what's your thoughts right there when it comes to LI trading for Gregory Soto?
Who would he trade for him? He didn't have Michael King in his bullpen. Who would you trade for him, LI? I'm curious. I would trade Gleyber Torres for him.
Yeah, I don't think he put Michael King in the bullpen because he's injured. So let's just go hypothetically if Michael King is injured. If he's healthy.
What about Lou Trevino? He wasn't in there either.
Oh.
He's under control until 2025.
Wow, we gotta have a lot of good arms coming out that bullpen then.
Super deep. So we gotta be deep, man. Especially if they don't get Rodon, we're gonna need more bullpen depth. So,
yeah.
That's why I hope they get Rodon, man.
Oh, we got Udo Yosef is in the building. Udo, what it do, baby?
Top on you, man. What's good?
What a good. Yeah. When it comes to this bullpen, last year, what hurt us is that, over the past like 5 seasons, the strength of this Yankees team has been their bullpen, right? Yeah. When Britton was on, when Chapman was on, when Lasagna was on, that was the strength of this team. Last year, we kind of took a step back because Britton was injured. Chapman literally just fell off the face of the earth. I'm not even sure if he's going to pitch this season with any other team. But our bullpen took a step back last year. We had to find pieces here or there to plug them together. Now, going into this season, we have a more defined roles for these guys and more defined bullpen. I really like our bullpen going into next season.
I do too. Bullpen doesn't really worry me. Another starter, I think, is not a bigger worry either, but it would be helpful to get it because I do think, all those Carlos Rodon the teams that might be after him, who's the Minnesota Twins ace? I don't even know who it is.
I don't. Sonny Gray.
Exactly. So who's the Cardinals ace?
Oh, I don't. Jordan Montgomery.
So there's no co-ace situation going on. You put him here, you have Cole and Rodon. That's a co-ace situation. All those other teams can't think of anybody. Sonny Gray, what the fuck?
L.I. Yankee King said that he would trade Trey Sweeney, Will Warren, and 2 lower level prospects for Gregory Soto. If I was to center that around Gleyber Torres, I would add Trey Sweeney, take Will Warren off, and two low level prospects. That's what I would do.
I would swap Will Warren.
Yeah, center it around Gleyber Torres, put Trey Sweeney, two low level prospects. I just want the Yankees to finally develop that number one starter, right? And Will Warren, his stuff is really good. You know, he shot up the organization from him when he was drafted to where he is right now. So I just want the Yankees to hold on to the little bit of pitching prospects that they have.
I would agree 100% with that one, man. I would move, and they need a second baseman. Tigers, they made it clear. They need a second baseman. Torres is controllable. He's also very close friends with Javi Baez.
Yes.
So it would be a nice fit over there in Detroit.
Yes. And TC Stills, he said, what about Weissert and Albert Abreu? I don't think Albert Abreu is on the contract for this upcoming season, because you got to remember the Yankees, they traded him away. He was picked back up by the Yankees, re-released, and then picked back up by the Yankees. So I'm not sure if he's gonna come back, but if he comes back, he's just he's just insurance, just in case if anybody gets injured.
Let's see.
He does throw 100 miles per hour. You can never turn away anyone who throws 100 miles per hour.
No,
honestly,
exactly. Let me see. He's under. So they brought him back. I'm looking at his contract here. His contract situation here. His contract details. He's not a free agent until 2027. So the Yankees have him for 4 more seasons of team control. So even after the trade, he's still arbitration, pre-arb and arb. So yeah. They got a boatload of control, and Weissert's another one. Again, he's got some good stuff too. It's good to have this much depth.
You can never have too much depth. You can never have too much depth. I see Peter Bryan. Peter, what it do? Good morning. He said Hughes, Jabba, and Kennedy. Any team will give anything to have 50% of prospect hits. 10% is more likely. Look at teams' top 20 lists over the last 20 years and see how many hit. Absolutely, Peter. That's a great point. That is a great point, brother. Appreciate the insight. Yeah. Also, because the rumors have been coming out, TC Stills, I appreciate you for putting this in, but Deivi Garcia. Everybody's talking about Deivi Garcia being switched to the bullpen and how his sinker is at 96, 97 miles per hour. Even Nathan was talking about it. What's your expectations going forward for Deivi Garcia?
I think he's either going to be a piece that could potentially be in the bullpen or a long relief, or a trade piece for a bigger piece. I mean, there's no sense of them pussyfooting around with the guy. Either play him and let him cater to his strengths, let him be productive here, or move him for somebody who can be more productive to address him.
Yeah.
If there's no sense in keeping him down there and not doing anything with him. So.
Yeah. For me, it kind of feels like it, and correct me if I'm wrong, it kind of feels like the Yankees are trying to pump up Deivi Garcia to get ready to trade him. This is one of those scenarios that you just hear noise about a player and it's just pumping up. And I'm not sure if it's just the Yankees manufacturing it or if this is actual hype for a player.
Yeah, it's a good point too. I don't know, and I think you might be right on that one too about hyping him to boost his trade value. And every time somebody like converts from the rotation to the bullpen, it starts to do really well, like a newfound skill set. They're going to try and hype that up as much as possible. And teams are always looking for good bullpen pieces. And if he turns into a really good bullpen piece, teams will be willing to pay for him, even if you add him as part of a trade for a Gregory Soto. Or I put him in there instead of Will Warren. So
no, I definitely put him there instead of Will Warren.
Yeah. Or a Pittsburgh or a Brewers trade or a Marlins trade or something like that. I would put him in there.
Yeah. Oh, want to shout out the chat. My brother Keith Saunders is in the building. Keith, what it do on this Friday? Don Johnson, he said, people forgot IKF was a glow glove. I never forget that. I honestly never forget that. The thing about IKF is that, and we've had this conversation many times, Jason, I do not blame IKF for his production at shortstop, right? Especially on the New York Yankees. Why? Because IKF didn't make the trade for IKF. Brian Cashman made the trade for IKF. And when it comes to that lineup, IKF is not penciling himself in at shortstop. Aaron Boone is penciling IKF at shortstop. So when it comes to IKF, I understand and I recognize his best position is third base, But for some reason, the Yankees thought, hey, we played Gio with Sherla at shortstop when he's a third baseman. Let's do the same thing with IKF. It just doesn't work. IKF needs to go back to either third base or second base. He cannot be a major league shortstop.
No, I couldn't agree more. He was playing out of position. He's one of these guys that doesn't convert well to a new position, at least with short. Again, it's hard to go from a corner outfielder to center field. Just like it's hard to go from third base to shortstop, where you expect them to have bigger range both ways. The focus on third base is you're generally going left. Now you have to go both directions at a further range. So it can make it expose vulnerabilities of a player, and it exposed him pretty good, and as being a suspect defender at shortstop. He made some good plays. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't a fit there. I think he's a better fit at third. So I'm with you.
Yeah, and there was some moments with his bat as well. You know, he had that grand slam in Boston. There was some moments when it came to IKF bat that, you've seen some good stuff. But if I had to choose between IKF and Josh Donaldson being at third base, I would lean more in the favor of IKF because he's a contact hitter. Josh Donaldson strikes out too much, and he's at an advanced stage of his career that he cannot catch up to that fastball. That fastball that sits at his eyes, he swings under it every time. He doesn't have the bat speed anymore.
Yeah, and if I want one of these guys on the base, I want IKF on the base. A better base runner. He's fast. He's always was part of this run scoring machine with the Yankees. I always see him moving over on the base pass or running down a sacrifice bunt to move runners over, even if he got out. He was, and again, people forget this. He was second best on the whole entire team with runners in scoring position behind only Aaron Judge.
So absolutely.
But all people notice is his horrible defense at shortstop. And it's really hard to have big RBI opportunities when you're batting seventh.
Yeah.
So, and he's not batting at the top of the lineup. So that has to be considered as well.
Yeah, and then Uncle Tats with the perfect take. He said IKF is the bench player Taylor Wade should have been, not an everyday player. Absolutely. Absolutely. You got to have the perfect balance when it comes to platooning IKF with someone else. Have that IKF, let him hit against left-handed pitches. If you could find the left-handed third baseman to put in there to platoon for the both of them, look for it, but just explore different options than Josh Donaldson. We can't go into the season expecting Josh Donaldson to hit 20 home runs. It's not going to happen anymore. He's past his prime.
Yes,
it's way past his prime.
Years. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I wish he could play the field and have somebody else bat for him.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Let it be softball. Just let him play the field and just let someone hit for him. This is beer league softball, baby.
Yeah. I'm going to show that you're going to run the bases. That's it. Just go.
That's it. But I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Most importantly, Jason, my man, Pots and Pans, my brother. I appreciate you for joining me every other Thursday, like always. Last words before we dip out.
I think let's be, as hard as it might be, let's be patient with Rodon. I do think it'll happen. I think his market's just going to come down to the Yankees. I think they can pony up. 7th year, I don't know, but at least 6 years with an option for 7th. That's going to bare minimum. But I do think they'll get it done. And then what happens after that, I have no idea. But that one's got to happen, the Rodon. But just be patient. Obviously, we'll put out whatever you need, whatever other news is out. So you'll be in the loop no matter what. And I want to wish you all happy holidays, too, and just spend time with your friends and your loved ones. And we appreciate you coming on and spending time with us, too. So,
of course, man. We appreciate everyone in the chat. Blue Gold, first time seeing you. I appreciate you. Great insight going back and forth. Everyone else who chimed in as well. TC Stills in the chat. J Luck 243. Jimmy Mathers in the chat. Brad Jewis in the chat. Mark T Maker in the chat. Li Yankee King with all the trades that runs through that man's mind. I'm surprised he doesn't have like a little brain hurt or an aneurysm with all those different things that's running through his head. But Li Yankee King, my man, the dawn of the squared ring. Make sure you guys check out Li Yankee King because I don't want his hands wrapping around my neck. He's a wrestler and he got some big ass hands. That's one thing I'm about to say about my man Li Yankee King. But we appreciate everybody in the chat. Like Jason said, if any news comes out, Jason would probably be one of the first ones to report on it. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, NYY News TV, for our Get Yanks segment that comes on every Friday, 4 p.m. Jigga Man and I, we got some good tweets to go off for next tomorrow. So make sure you tune in. But like always, peace, prosperity, happy holidays. Jason for 161 River Ave, and we out. Peace out. What it do, Nick Nation? What it do? KOD Universe, stand up. And all you DJs, wake up and get your coffee.
I'ma slam on these goats like I'm John Starks. I'ma slam on these goats like I'm John Starks. I'ma slam on these goats.